What I'm going to show you here is how to get those super crisp, sharp shadows and how to make them super dark. It all comes down to physics. I'm going to explain everything to you from the camera settings to the light placement. It's very simple. We just need one light, a nice subject and a nice background. So the first thing we've done is we've got the whole thing framed up. So we've got a completely black frame so far. We're at f16, 125th of a second, 100 ISO. We need a good depth of field here. And the reason we need that is because if the shadow itself is sharp, but it's not in focus, that's no good to us. We need to have the shadow in focus and the sweet in focus. Now I've come in very close. We've used a lot of movement on my camera over here. We've got the lens swung all the way down, so we're in focus across the entire thing. You can focus stack, you can come further away, change your depth of field, whatever it may be. That's all fine. But what we need to do now is light it. The key to a hard shadow is a small point light source. And in this instance, we're using this one over here. We've got a broncolor head up here, no modifier at all. We can for sure put a reflector on it if we want to get a bit more light coming onto the set, if our light isn't powerful enough, but adding a reflector makes it bigger. So for now, we're just going to use it as it is. I'm going to hoist it up a bit. It might come out of shot, but just assume it's pretty darn high. We're going to angle it down. Probably go up a little bit more, to be honest. We'll just keep going. We'll go all the way up. And this is how we light most of my work. I completely blinded myself looking into the light there, but there we go. Okay, now the first thing we do on any lighting set is put it on full power, just to make sure we've definitely got enough light. And we'll grab a frame from there and see how we're doing. Let's turn the trigger on as well. There we go. So we'll see this come through on the screen. This is full power. It's coming in at a bit of an angle. I think we've slightly missed it hitting directly, but we'll see how we are for power. Pretty close, actually. Pretty close. We just need to adjust the angle a little bit. It needs to be a bit more here. Let's try that. Let's try and get as far in as we can. Perfect. So far that's pretty good. That's pretty crisp. That's a pretty sharp shadow. I mean, the actual wrapper printing is not in focus, but you can see if you look at the sharp corners, we've got some good focus going on in there. Now, this is dark, but it's not that dark, and there's a good reason for this. We've got a bright subject and a bright background. So we're going to hide this in here just to eat some of that light up, stop it bouncing around as much as it is. Beautiful, so that's darkened it up a little bit. It's still not fully dark, and the only way to do that at this stage is to create a bigger contrast between the light and the shadow. So we could turn the power up and stop the lens down. Obviously, if we have, you know, like a 2.8 at the top and it's only f4 here, it's not a big difference. We want it to be a huge difference between the correct exposure and the dark exposure. Now, currently we're at 3,200 watts just to achieve this. The next logical thing that I would do would be to add a reflector and to stop the lens down to f22, and that will give us a higher contrast. So let's do that next. This may take a moment. So we'll choose the smallest reflector possible. We'll borrow one from this light here. There we go. Now this will also focus the light in a bit more of a specific direction. So we're going to really need to make sure that this is hitting the set exactly how we want it to. It's going to also create a lot more power. We might be able to actually turn it down, because before our light was going all over the place, now it's going straight to the set. So let's have a quick look. F22. I think we're missing the set a little bit there. See how much brighter that is already. Stop it down to f32. And let's also bring in our reflector for a frame. Reflector, flag, this is like, it absorbs light. This is actually black cloth from a theatre curtain. I mean, to me, that's a pretty dark and sharp shadow. I think the focus is slightly off, so we're just going to look at that. Yeah. we go. Let's bring this back in again. Now to get even sharper shadows, there's something specific that I do on my shots. And if you want to see that video, I'm going to pop it over on the Patreon, but this is the fundamentals of it. Now, if you're still here, you've obviously come over to Patreon. There's some extra bits here. There's some secret sauce. We're going to bring this modifier down and we're going to modify the modifier. This is how we make shots that nobody else can recreate. Apart from now, obviously, all of you lovely people. With the modifier off, the light goes everywhere. With this on, it goes straight forward, but it becomes bigger. So there's a thing that I like to do, and it's called creating a hard box. This is our black cine foil, and this is about to get quite loud. This is a bit Blue Peter as well. So we've got some scissors and some cine foil. We're going to push this into here. And cover the inside of it, and then we're going to cut a hole in the back just there. So you can see roughly where we need to cut the hole. This is for the bulb to come through. Be a bit careful with this stuff because it's quite sharp. There we go. Is it big at the bottom, small at the top? There we go. And this is the secret sauce. This is what gives it that hard, dead light look. There we go. And this is very similar to a Pro Photo hard box in that it's a circular catch light, but we've made a singular point. So no longer do we have the light reflecting all over the place. We need to open up that lens a smidge. And this will be a very different look. There we go. So this gives us that solid black shadow, and it's got that stark light. There's no specularity. We've got a slightly bigger modifier. It's pushing the light forward still because of the shape of it, stopping it spilling everywhere, but it's not building in size. It's not creating a bigger size. Probably not the best subject matter to show you on, but this is pretty much how we do our fancy lighting. But yeah, I thought I'd share that little tidbit just with the Patreon folks because you all support this channel and I really appreciate it. And I wouldn't normally share this sort of stuff on YouTube because it is the secret sauce that makes the difference between me getting the job and everyone getting the job. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.